Thank you for staying with us here on News Desk. And we can go back to our story of the PNC and its upcoming National Delegates Congress that seems to be in a bit of a problem, as 3 persons have filed a suit seeking to halt that particular process. And we were speaking to Atiq Mohammed, who's a policy analyst with the party, and we had to take a break because the line was not too clear. I'm told Atiq Mohammed has joined us live now. Mr. Mohammed, if you can hear me, good morning once again. And you were telling me about how disappointed you are in how events have unfolded so far.
Yes, thank you very much, and let me say good morning once again. The point I was making is that the present state of affairs in the party for me gives us a great deal of cause to be worried, in the sense that we have told ourselves that this is the time for the party to put itself in the proper shape to be able to contest the upcoming election. And one of the major things that would kickstart this whole process is for us to get our leaders and get our presidential candidate.
Okay.
That's why those.
I think you might have to speak up a bit for us.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So the need for us to have a congress was for us to be able to get our leaders and our presidential candidates who would provide the direction going into the next election. Unfortunately, what has happened for me is very troubling. Nonetheless, I think that some things ought to be done right. When this issue came up, some people petitioned the vetting committee, requesting, among others, that whoever was unable to file within the subject period, the person should not be given the opportunity to contest. The petition was heard, and I think eventually the vetting committee came to some conclusion. Some of us were of the opinion that, frankly, if you defy the rules of the party, it does not matter who you are. You could even be Superman. You must be submissive to the laws and regulations of the party. So if anybody, for whatever reason, offended those regulations, the person ought to face the full implications. But in the interest of the bigger picture, some of us also, on reflection, decided that why don't we strike a compromise? Let's allow the process to unfold. And hopefully when we get to Congress, we may be able to get our leaders and so on in order, because we are already late. Every other party that matters in this country has had this Congress. So we are already lagging behind. And so there was no need for further keep dragging. But after that meeting, the information I've had, and it was clear at the meeting that even the petitioners themselves had come to some reasonable compromise. That, look, in the interest of the bigger picture, we are likely to clamber on this, our obligation to ensure that the right thing is done. But not long after that, we had all kinds of comments to the effect that the man in question was even accusing the petitioners of some likely or some attempted blackmail, which to all intents and purposes is not true. So to some extent, it incensed the petitioners, and they decided not to respect the compromise we had reached. But the point I am making is, I am personally frustrated and devastated because, my brother, you know the cost involved in doing national campaigns. The contest we are seeking to engage in is not just, for want of a better expression, an electoral area contest. Neither is it a ward election. This is a national executive contest. It means that you would have to travel to every constituency possible. You would have to meet with all kinds of groups and individuals. Now, this is about, if this is postponed, this would be about the 3rd time this has had to happen. And any time the postponement happens, it means that there are cost implications for us, the contestants. So I am personally not so happy, and I have been very devastated ever since this came, because I'm just imagining the cost, the additional cost that's going to be brought upon me. And we all recognize that the economy of this country in recent times is not doing too well. So it's really a drain on our country resources. But the point also must be that where we have got to now, it means the process has to stretch to its full length. I am of the opinion that anybody who offends the party's obligations must be made to face the full effect.
So you think Mr. Mona ought not to be allowed to run in this, to contest in this particular elections?
Sorry?
You agree with the petitioners that Mr. Mona should not be allowed to contest in the upcoming elections?
I personally, I don't know what the situation or what the legal position would be. Now that a process has been or an action has been actuated in the court, I do not know whether it is possible to even strike a compromise. Otherwise, originally I was for a compromise that in the interest, I mean the bigger interest, for the sake of our common good, could we, let sleeping dogs lie? Let's try to massage things a bit. And in doing so, we should also communicate it very well so that Ghanaians don't get the wrong impression that we are condoning wrongs or illegalities. But where we have got to, I initially was of the opinion that whoever offends our regulations should be made to face the full implications. But looking at the likely effect that was going to have on our Congress, I said let's try to compromise. But where we have got to, I don't think there is any room for any compromise anymore. And to that extent, I will only wish that this is done expeditiously so that we can go to our Congress. If the petitioners think that there are some claims they can present in court in defense of the rules and regulations of the party, well, who am I to say no? I would have preferred that this is dealt with internally. It wouldn't have had, and we have to get to this point where everybody, look, like it or not, we are becoming at a faster pace in subject matter of somewhat public critical, because you keep on postponing your Congress days and so on. It begins to win people's confidence in your ability to organize some of these things. But if this is what they have chosen or elected to do, I can only wish them well. But I would have preferred that the leadership of the party would solve this matter internally so that it wouldn't have to get to the point it has got to. I am personally devastated. And you have no idea the number of calls I receive on many pages. Yesterday, I switched off my phone. Immediately, I switched on. The calls were coming as if they had already arranged them in a queue to be calling. Everybody is worried. What is the state of affairs? What are we doing? Where are we headed? I think that these are not the kinds of questions people really are interested in asking. They want to know, when are we getting our leaders? When are we getting our flag bearer? When are we getting ready to do battle with the NDC and the NC?
Okay, so finally, I think let me ask this. One of the petitioners, Henry Asante, accuses the party executives, for instance, of just trying to shield or protect certain people. Is that an assertion you agree with? Is that really the case in the PNC?
I do not think that there is any attempt to shield anybody. I would resist. I will fight any such attempt. But truth be told, where we have got to, and that's why I was speaking initially of the compromise. I'm not sure anybody, I don't see which leader or which executive of the party would wish to, conceal the truth in order to defend one man. Like I said, Bernard is not a Superman, and even if he were, he is a subject, or let me say, he is a subordinate to our laws. Nobody is above our laws. So I don't think there's any such deliberate attempt to shield one individual. But we were speaking, and I personally supported it at the meeting we had. In the context of the collective good, why don't we try some compromise? But where we have got to, I think we've gone past the stage of compromise. And regrettably, we just have to wait and see what the court do. Even though I would wish that the leaders would come to some compromise. But let it not be said that there is some deliberate attempt. I know certainly that the national leader is not going to condone any such illegality. I know that people like Mr. Edward Mahama would not condone any such illegality and things like that. But the point is that we were looking at what I wanted to avert what is happening, where we have to discuss, like we are doing on air, why is your Congress not coming on? That's what we were trying to avoid.
Right.
But as we speak, it appears that couldn't work.
Okay.
And I don't think that should be misconstrued to mean it was an attempt to shield anybody. Bernard is not above the party's laws. And if they think the forum they have gone to is the only way out for them to make that point, well, who am I to say no? But I would have wished we had a much better way of dealing with the issue. But the other point is that the man in question himself is not helping matters. Right. You have agreed and you have admitted that you offended our regulations. That is beyond dispute. Beyond dispute. You agreed. So, as we are trying very hard to convince the petitioners to look at the bigger picture, you go about making all kinds of, regrettable and, let me use the right word, all kinds of objectionable comments. That way, it means you yourself, you are not interested in promoting the collective good. So you push them to the wall, you leave them no option but to go to the forum they have decided to go to.
Right.
I think that's the point. And let me take this opportunity to tell our delegates and our executives that it is regrettable, but I dare say that this is just a minor storm. I'm sure the party will soon overcome.
Many thanks for your time on News Desk this morning. And Atik Mohammed is a policy analyst with the People's National Convention. He joined us with some thoughts on that particular issue on the upcoming Congress that seems to be in limbo. You're still watching News Desk here on Joy News Multi TV. We'll be back with business right after these messages.